Revelations.Unveiled.Detroit.
Yes. All praises to the heavenly, holy, almighty creator of infinity, eternity, the universe, and all there is. This is Revelations.Unveiled.Detroit. Hello, family. We are back together again in our zone of comfort, safety, love, warmth for the continuing education and edification of the holy hidden nation. All praises. And family, we have a wonderful commentary and review this evening. I have my brother of the world, Steve, on the line with us this evening. We are going to get some definition, some understanding of the so-called critical race theory, how it pertains to us as so-called African Americans or Black people, whatever the designation is you prefer, how it pertains to our educational system with our wonderful little ones, and how we can improve or increase the discussion for more proactive and substantive application as we proceed forward. So family, without further ado, I am turning on the cameras, bringing on Brother Steve, and we are going to begin. Brother Steve, there you are. Good evening, sir. How are you this evening?
I'm real good, man. I appreciate it.
Fantastic. Brother Steve, thanks for joining me on the platform, Revelations.Unveiled.Detroit. We have this theory all teed up. We got some wonderful information to review, but I want you to go ahead and take a few moments, if you would so kindly, give a little introduction of yourself, and then we can jump right in so we can find out what all this hoopla, this furor, this frustration, this anxiety, and all these town halls with these governors creating this legislation against this critical race theory. So go ahead, brother, tell us who you are, and then we can go ahead and get right in the pool of information.
Yeah, I'm just a lowly engineer that is trying to understand the world as it is. We've been friends for I don't know how many long years, 400,
back in the 90s.
400, 500, something like that. This critical race theory coming up. We are Michiganders. I'm originally from Saginaw, but I spent probably more time in Detroit than I've been in Saginaw for that most part. Right. So we got to know each other for a long time for multiple reasons. But this structural and racial theory. What's the proper term?
Critical race theory, as they
critical. C.R.T. Sorry. C.R.T. It's kind of new to me, to be honest. I had never heard of it prior to the last few months, maybe.
Okay.
And so only recently have I delved into it and tried to understand all the definitions. I think we should start with defining what it is and an agreement on what the definition is.
No problem. So with those prompts of questions, I'm a YouTuber, or we do content and videos. My channel is focused on delving into our actual identity as a people, what we call the American descendants of slaves. I started with the preeminent history book of our time, which is the Holy History, the biblical text. And from there, I made some grand discoveries outside of what you call any religious indoctrination. So from my discoveries, that was the beginning of the channel platform, and it also connects to the secular history of our people, as well as current event commentary and other items of information. So this is continuing expansion of channel content. So we have to get a definition to increase our understanding. So being a YouTuber, I was provoked by another brother. Name is Brandon Tatum. Brother has an extensive channel, over 1 million followers. And of course, with as any other person, you listen, and what they say, you agree, you disagree, or you're indifferent. This particular episode provoked me to then begin a formal discussion. So first and foremost, I want the people in the family to see the channel. Here we go. Please visit the channel family on YouTube, Revelations.Unveiled Detroit. We're growing subscribers. We're growing content. Please send your suggestions, anything you want to hear read verbally, any material you want to discuss, all welcome to you, please. Also, if Brother Steve and myself provide you with any entertainment, any enlightenment, any laughs, or if you just want Brother Steve to have a little extra gas money, please review those support links at the bottom as we continue on through our journey of the critical race theory. So, Brother Steve, I'm going to start with the video that provoked me to then want to begin this critical race theory journey. And, I'm going to give some credit to the brother. What he said actually helped me in my own presentation when we speak about things in terms of framing things in a historical and respectful way. And I think once we begin this review, you'll understand what I'm saying, because I was a little bit offended. So I want to start here, and then we'll go into the definition of critical race theory. You ready, Brother Steve?
Yes, sir. I'm interested in your offenses, what you got offended by. So yeah, let's do it.
Once we review this, maybe you'll pick up on some of the things, or maybe I'm overreacting. Okay. I am objective in that capacity. And let's see, we're gonna go full screen, family, and see what Brother Tatum is offering us as his explanation of critical race theory.
The Tatum community. However, let's start talking about C.R.T. Okay, C.R.T. obviously is a theory. It's called critical race theory.
Brother Steve. Brother Steve, hold on. I forgot. No, that was great, wasn't it? But we got to do our due diligence. So as not to cause offense, we're going to go ahead and throw up our disclaimer here of the Fair Use Act, of the videos and articles for entertainment and educational purposes, for commentary, study, research, and review. So we want to get in there, make sure nobody becomes offended, and we can go ahead and enjoy ourselves. And so we go.
The inception of the critical race theory
of course, as soon as it starts.
Argument.
I lost you, brother. I don't know if you can hear me. But...
illegitimate perception of a theory to kids, to young people who don't have the capacity to even diagnose these things and make a conscious decision about what they want to do with it moving forward. If this sprung out as a conversation about a legal theory in college, then that's where you need to have the legal theory. That's where you need to have the theory, expand upon, so people can critically think about it and make their decision. You should not be forcing this in the schools. Young people should not be even taking a glimpse at anything related to critical race theory. Let me talk about critical race theory just for a little bit, and then I want to debunk the fact that people who are claiming to be Christian can support critical race theory. People who claim to love this country to be able to support critical race theory. So let's start with the facts. Critical race theory, people distort it, people call it other things, but the gist of it is saying that white people should be held accountable for the past of people who happen to have the same skin tone. Not that that's their lineage, because 60% or so of white people who are here today, they migrated after slavery. Now, just because a person look like you, or at least have the same similar skin color, don't mean that you share the same lineage. The same thing is with black folks. How do you know your ancestors didn't come from Africa after slavery? How did you know your ancestors weren't a part of the indentured servants in the North who were never a part of slavery? How do you know that your ancestors didn't have a temporary time in slavery? It wasn't a part of the slavery institution for longer than a small period of time. How do you know? What if your ancestor was Frederick Douglass? What if your ancestor was Booker Washington? People who overcame slavery and became somebody great out from slavery. You don't know, but they're teaching young white kids.
Okay, Brother Steve, this is a short interjection. You captured what he's putting down so far.
Yep.
You okay, I want to ask the agreement question. He was kind of broad with some of those historical applications there, and I don't think he's putting his finger on the pulse of that history. And so that was one of the things I had highlighted. Just wanted to interject that.
That their ancestors, their connective ancestors, were brutalizing, beating, hating, and doing devilish evil things to black people, and which are the ancestors of everybody that you see that's brown. Whether it's true or not, that's what they're perpetuating. But they're not telling the full story, because they're not telling you that slavery was never really about racism, about race at all. It was availability of slave labor, cheap labor, which African people enslaved their own people first, and then dashed them out around the whole country, around the entire world, for them to be slaves. America was the first to abolish. America was the first to have the concept of inalienable rights given to you by God, the first in the world to espouse those principles. So to think that we were founded on nefarious means is untrue. Look at documents from the founding fathers. Even though sometimes they did not live up to it, they still understood that it was improper, it was wrong, it wasn't godly to continue down the path of slavery. That's why you see during the Civil War, that it didn't lead more slavery into our world. Slavery was abolished after the Civil War because the leading narrative was that slavery was improper and is not upholding the Constitution or the rights that we've been afforded to by God. We can see all those things coming to fruition. We can see, once we gained our independence, believing that we weren't going to be a part of a monarchy, believe in self-sustainability, independence. All of those things are incredible principles that we founded with in this country that has led us to this point of being great, led us to this point of overcoming our differences and our mistakes. Let me tell you how you cannot be a Christian and espouse these principles.
All right, Brother Steve. And this was before he goes into, the religious application. So, my first reaction was, this is a C.R.T. coon, right? And so, we all we hear what we hear, and we get our initial assessment, right? But like I said, this brother has put on other shows, and I've agreed with some points. And I hold maybe if it's a political or a moral or a social designation, I'm definitely consider myself conservative. Now, that being said, what is your assessment of what he defined or describes as critical race theory?
I don't think he did enough homework. I think that I mean, clear. I sent you a video where he was on with my man. I don't know. What did you think of that video before I go on?
What was the gentleman's name?
Shucks, I can't remember. He's someone I check on regularly. I don't necessarily agree with all the time. I didn't like how he was treated. Actually, unfortunately, he had more valid points in my opinion. But to go back, then we'll go back to that video. So I think his perspective. I think he has a limited perspective because his view is myopic, right? He's conflating religion and critical race theory and trying to compare his perspective. One is a subjective perspective. The other one is not even like, I don't even like the term critical race theory, right? You can say critical race hypothesis or hypothetical, but I think that the use of theory is so retrograde at this point. It's just people don't understand what theory means, and so it's used as a kind of a humbug. Like it's less than a hypothesis. Of theory is. It's a guess. It is not. Theory is the most, like, everything you believe, you want to be a theory. You want it to be a theory. The theory of disease, theory of relativity, and we've taken it and used it as a kind of a best guess, and this is not true.
Apply all.
Right, and so I don't like that. First of all,
now another thing was in his tone. Who was his audience? Was he talking to me and you?
I don't think he was talking to me and you, but he was talking to his subjective perspective of righteous Christian. This is the no true Scotsman's fallacy, right? In his perspective, there are Christians, and this is what Christians are, right? This is what real Christians are, right? And you can do this with anything, right? You can say this is what real Black people are. This is what real Americans are. This is what real patriots are. Whatever. This is the no true Scotsman fallacy, where you can say, oh, we're not this, right? This is the real kind. This is not the real kind. This is the real kind. It's not whatever you're. And so that's what he's doing. And I don't agree with that either. But he's not making the worst points on earth. Like, I've heard worse under the C.R.T. But I'm not in full agreement with him, and I'm not in full dismissive of his points.
Okay, now, so as you were articulating about the word theory, let's go to the definition here and see if this will give additional clarity.
Okay.
So I'm going to do some reading for us. At the top, we have critical race theory is a field of intellectual inquiry that demonstrates the legal codification of racism in America, by David Miguel Gray, assistant professor of philosophy of the University of Memphis. Critical race theory, C.R.T. explained, the central idea of a critic or C.R.T. is that racism is institutionalized and is embedded in America's history, legal systems, and policies. It acknowledges the continuing impacts of slavery and segregation in America and critiques how institutionalized racism perpetuates a caste system that is inherently unequal. There are 5 principles of critical race theory, or the core tenets. Now, Brother Steve, that introductory definition, do you agree with that?
There's a difference between you put me on this is a slippery slope in my mind. The way I feel and what's true is different, right? Sometimes I don't know if it's true, the definition, but I can tell you the way I feel.
Let's get your feeling.
the way I feel, it it feels like that, but I don't know that it's true.
Okay.
And
Now,
so we say, how do we discern? How do we discern whether it's true or not?
No. You're here for you to outline as an outside. You know how you want to step outside of yourself? When you acknowledge, hey, how I think is me. I need to understand the other side of the coin. So, what does it say? It said, the central idea is that racism is institutionalized and is embedded in American history, legal systems, and policies. It acknowledges the continuing impacts of slavery and segregation in American society and critiques how institutionalized racism perpetuates a caste system that is inherently unequal. Now that, what is that? It's about 3 hard sentences that gives you the scope, and then they give you the tenets of their evaluation.
Yeah.
So in our feeling, here's the feeling. Is racism institutionalized and embedded in America's history, legal systems, and policies? That's the core question. What do you say?
So I like the last part the most. I think I agree with the last part, the caste system part. Again, it's we had to do. I had to do much more homework on this. For me, I need hardcore data to say whether it's true, separate from the way I feel.
Okay.
For example, I was in Kentucky. No, I'm sorry. I was in Southern Indiana, right across from Kentuckiana. And a friend of mine said, asked me if I had been downtown yet. I said, no, I haven't been downtown Kentuckiana. And so she said, okay, when you get off work, let's go downtown. So I went to pick her up, and we went downtown. And her and my supervisor for my job would tease me because I would come to a stop sign and I would say 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1 before I pull off. Oh, they just thought that was the funniest thing. This may be an argument for privilege. So I go to the next stop sign, 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000 before I pull off. She's laughing at me, texting her friends. He's doing it. We pull into the parking lot before we get out of the car to go downtown so she can show me stuff. All of a sudden the car pulls up, boom, really quickly behind me. I said, damn, did you see that? Did you see that car pull up so fast? Turns out it's a cop. He gets out of the car, comes around in front of my car, and he gets out. I get out halfway, got my leg in the car, my hands on the door. I say, what's going on? He says, you knew you blew past that sign, right? I said, no, I didn't. Her mind, you can see the mushroom cloud in its immaturity prior to losing it. So she was, what? I was like, I did not blow past the sign. And she was just teasing me because I counted prior 1,000, 2 1,000, 3, right? So she, I said, hey. you know the statistics, gonna shoot me before he shoots you. But
now, hold on, Steve, right there. See?
That's a feeling though. There's the feeling.
Okay, now that feeling emerges from an existence.
Yeah, it emerges from existence. Doesn't mean it's correct. Doesn't mean
I'm only applying that
right.
I'm only applying that to where it said how these policies and practices are institutionalized.
I get that, but
yeah.
trying to demonstrate that on a way that you can measure, you have to have some kind of data. It's not just about feeling. Now I can imagine. So the rest of the story. Now this woman, it's important. She's not black or white. Okay, neither. And she's about to go off, and I had to stop her. Right when I got back to to my job and I told the story, these were Caucasian people, my supervisor and a colleague, female. She said, "Do you think they did that because you were black?" I said, "Well, I don't know. Here's what it would take to know." They pulled me over and he said, "Look, darky." I opened the door. He said, "Blackie, you know why I pulled you over, right? It's because how do you know he wasn't trying to fill a quota? He's blind as a bat. There could be many reasons why he did that. Now, to just make assertions that he just pulled me over because I'm black, it's easy. But to take the extra 2 steps to think about it is the hard part. When you say there could be multiple reasons, I have no idea why this dude did it, right? Including maybe because I was chocolate. I don't know.
You wouldn't directly put that on the racism spectrum.
I would not, because I don't have the proof to do so.
Good deal. On that segue, let me check these points to see in how they critique or analyze critical race theory. It's giving us additional tools. Revelations.Unveiled.Detroit.